You did exactly what you were told. You did what people told you would change everything for you. And then, after you did it, life looked pretty much the same. If that's been your experience, if you're already a best selling author, but you really have never had, other than that day you became a bestseller, that moment where you really created momentum, today is the day we're going to help you with that. Because what happened was is you were sold a moment, a concept, a certification, rather than a system, a process, and a marketing program that was going to change everything for you. But today, we're going to show you exactly how that works. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years in business, I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with more than 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything else that goes beyond that. But more importantly than the doctors, the lawyers, the nurses, the multi-billionaires and brand new startup companies that I've worked with, more importantly is helping people really truly understand their marketing, how to have momentum, not a moment, how to have something that really is duplicatable, something that they can do that can get them to where they're intending to go versus something that just kind of kicks off, gets going, and then fizzles out. Gives you this really exciting, great moment, but then doesn't really give you the ongoing power, and flow that you need. Because ultimately, what we all need with our businesses, we need them to succeed. We need them to be growing. We don't want them to just be, stuck. We don't want to just live in I hope mode. We want to actually be able to have our book do the thing that it was meant to do. And all too often, we get sold bestseller packages, and we leave people there. And I'll be the first one to admit to you, as a total apology to anybody that I've done this to. I spent years and years and years doing it, and telling people that it was the foundational element of their marketing. Just like we tell people, when we talk about graduating from medical school, when you want to be a doctor, we talk about, the degree, the certification, the things you need in order to be eligible, to be qualified for a particular job, uh, or that kind of a thing. But what we really, really need to look at is we need to look at what does it take to live that life, to really live the life of your dreams. I love it. A good friend of mine, Nafisa, um, wrote an amazing book and talked, and I've had her on the show a couple of times and things like that. She talked about having your business help you create and live the life that you're wanting to live. And she talked about really basic, simple things like if you want to travel, having a job that, creating a company that needs you to be sitting behind a desk every day of the week is going to make it really hard for you to travel. Conversely, if you really want to stay home and your whole marketing is based on you being out on the road, being a touring musician, traveling 2 to 300 days out of the year, and you really are just a homebody and you really don't want to be out in front of people. If you, and sometimes I take issue with this, and we won't go into the whole thing about, whether you are or aren't an introvert, because that's really about how being in a group of people impacts your energy. But there are a lot of people that are shy, and sometimes we need to overcome that shyness. Sometimes it's just part of how we are, who we are, and the way we want to be in this world. Not everybody needs to be the keynote speaker. Hey, Emma, glad to have you here with us. I'm good. How are you doing today? Some people need to be in the audience. If every single person was up on stage, okay, or if every single person that came to the event came only to be able to give their talk and then not contribute to the rest of the room and be good students. One of the biggest things you want to do when you're a speaker is you want to not only have a really solid, powerful talk, but you want to be engaged in the talks of the other people. Now, if you're a vendor, a speaker, those kind of things at the event, there are going to be times when you're going to need to do the things that you are meant to do there at that situation. Okay, I get that. You're going to have people that are going to want to talk to you and that kind of thing, and you need to make it profitable. Um, and that's okay. But with that, you need to also really participate. There could be somebody that's on stage that's going to give you your next thing, and you're being engaged. You should be the person leading the room in engagement, giving feed, when people call out for responses, being the person that really truly responds. It was good to have you here with us, Emma. Um, Being the person that is actively, engagingly listening versus somebody who's just kind of hanging out in their room until it's their time to go on stage. Such a difference in that. And that is what's going to make you the connection. Just speaking specifically, if you're talking about speaking. But not everybody's meant to be that person that's going to be on stage. You need the people that are going to be in the audience. You need the people that are going to be at home listening on a live stream or are only going to listen to you digitally, that are only ever going to listen to or read your posts. Statistically, we know that out of 100 people, 90 of those on a social media post, this is technically a Facebook statistic, 90 of those people are going to see your posts and never do anything. They're not even going to so much as hit the like button. Okay, so like for example, if you go live like what I am right now, for every one Emma that says hi, okay, and I'll break down the statistics for you even more. Um, there are 99 people who didn't say anything. Okay, so the first 90 of those 100 are people who, nothing, no like button, no hearts, nothing. They see the thing and they move on. Okay, the other nine out of the remaining 10 will, do a thumbs up or something like that. They, they're not going to be contributing to the conversation. If they make a comment, it's going to be something really basic, like I agree, or something like that. Okay, it's 1% of the people that are the ones that are actually truly connecting. That's 1 out of every 100. Okay, and so we need those people. We need the 90 that are just seeing it and not doing anything. We need the 9 that are just like it, and then we need that 1% that are really our raving fans. And so in a room of 100 people, we're looking for that one person out of 100 that's going to be our next raving fan. Great customer, great person that's going to support and promote and be into and really excited about all the things that we do. Absolutely. Okay. So you want to make sure that you've created the lifestyle that you're intending, all right, for the business that you're running. And you want to make sure that when it comes specifically to your book and making it a bestseller, that you have the system behind that too, to allow you to be able to continue to do the things that your book is meant to do. Okay, becoming a bestseller is necessary. It's a day one launch strategy. It is a third party, and I'm going to recommend that you really do want to be an Amazon bestseller because that's where people go to buy books. New York Times is kind of a really cool vanity metric, but it's an editorial. They're going to take a list of statistics and they're going to decide, we do like this person, we don't like this person, we like how they sold it. There's a whole lot of variables in there, including just the person who writes it's, own opinions. um, but when it really comes to having that credential, this person knows what they're talking about. They did it, and they did the things that algorithmically, statistically stood out. And it doesn't matter whether you stand out for a second or you stand out for 20 years. Okay, you need that, but it doesn't build ongoing discovery. It isn't going to create ongoing momentum. It doesn't create trust at scale. It's going to create trust for that day. And whenever you go to somebody's book and it's on the bestseller list, so you go down to the bottom, you look at the statistics, you can see this person's book is, especially when they're number one. But, anywhere on the bestseller list, it's like, wow, there are 100 million or so books on Amazon, and this book made it in its category on the bestseller list. That's huge. But that doesn't create a relationship. That doesn't connect you with the people. It just validates who you are. What you need is ongoing visibility. You need continuous trust signals. Things like, especially reviews. Reviews are so powerful because when we buy something, and I just had to order some things, and what's the first thing we do? We go down and we look at what did other people have to say about it. Why should I buy this thing versus that thing? And we may do even a comparison. There's lots of, you can type in to chat or an AI and say, this product versus this product, what's the difference? And it'll tell you, and, you know, even with AI being able to tell you that, ultimately, you're still going to look at what did the people say? Because AI may tell you, yeah, this sock, because they're pulling FAQs essentially. I mean, it's a little deeper than this, but they're pulling that information from what was submitted to them. This is what that company says about themselves. They say they're the most comfortable sock in the entire world. Can you tell it was socks I was actually looking at? Okay, cool. But what do people say? Yeah, these socks were really comfortable when I first wore them, but the longer I wore them, they were, they really started making my feet feel pinched. Or they're really comfortable, but the longer you wear them, the more that you feel like your feet start swelling in your shoes. These are valid kind of things that we look at. That's what a review does, is it allows you to have a clear signal of trust. This is why this is a good thing for you. And with that consistency in especially reviews is going to make such a huge difference for you. It's a system. It's not about working harder. It's about understanding how it works. It's about knowing who you're talking to, knowing where they are, and then meeting them where they are. Now, I want you to understand something. I want to kind of bring this all together for you because you didn't waste your time becoming a bestseller. Bestseller it may only be the beginning, but it is the beginning. Okay, if you wanted to be a doctor, you got to graduate from medical school. If you want to be a lawyer, you got to graduate, from law school. You need those credentials. Okay, you need that credential as a business person of being the guy who wrote the book on it. Okay. But now what you need is to build a system on top of that moment that creates your momentum. You haven't built that system yet. And I'm here to help you do that. We don't need to hype you up. We don't need to promise you the moon and the 11 stars. It's a system, it's a process. You do it ongoingly. And the longer you do it, the more intentional you are about it, the more that you absolutely are going to have the things you need. So if you have a best-selling book and it didn't move the needle, or it did for a little while and it isn't now, then I want you to drop your book down below. Just put your comment. DM me the word bestseller. Let me know. I can tell you exactly why, and I can help you really understand. I'll take a real look at it and talk to you about why the book's losing momentum and how it can get it back. What would actually turn that bestseller seal, that badge, that credibility factor into true ongoing visibility, trust, and traction. If you're interested in that, drop your book link below or DM me the word bestseller and let's talk. I'm so excited to help you. I'm here for you. I want you to know and understand a bestseller proves your book can move, and a system is what keeps it moving. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved. And until we're together again next time, which is tomorrow, I hope you have a great week.